Come on up, Gary. Let's give him a hand. Awesome. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Chris, my campaign manager, and all the entire campaign, Sheriff Gary campaign team. We couldn't have gotten where we are today without everybody's help, putting your shoulder to the wheel and helping out. So, can you please give our campaign team a round of applause for all the efforts they put into this? You know, I spent the last 3.5 years battling in court to try to preserve the office of sheriff, your sheriff. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for the next guy that comes in after me so that he won't have to fight this fight to preserve this office. This office is the most influential office, I feel, in the entire county, all over this nation. The sheriff, the elected sheriff by you, the people, is the one that controls and helps out with the safety and the protection of the citizens of this county. I protected this country for 28 years in the military, and I came back home to my hometown here in Watford City. I was born in the hospital downtown, not the new one, but the old one. And I was raised in a little town south of here called Grassy Butte. Anybody heard of Grassy Butte down there? I was raised in a log cabin 9.5 miles east of Grassy Butte, right along the Dunn County line, down in the Badlands. No kidding, I was raised in a log cabin that was built in the 1890s. We had a 2-hole outhouse. We didn't have a bathroom in our house. We had a 2-hole outhouse, and we had to take baths in a little galvanized tub in the middle of the kitchen. Mom would heat the water up and put a curtain around some chairs, and since I was the oldest, I got to go take a bath first, so that was good. And so I know where people come from. I came from humble beginnings. I'm still there. I put my pants on the same way everybody else does. I've been a service-minded individual my whole entire life. And that's the reason why I chose to put my hat in the arena, because I say it's the arena. It's the doers and the people that get in the arena that make things happen and get things done. I knew what I was getting into when I ran for this job. I knew that there were some things that are going on in this county that shouldn't have been happening. And that's what I'm trying to do, is try to right those wrongs and help it out. So I want you to know that I'm here to fight for the preservation of this elected office, which I have proven in the North Dakota Supreme Court. Most recently, all 5 justices ruled in my favor unanimously. Thank you. What that does for you, the citizens of this county, is it keeps the separation of powers at the county level. Just like it does at the national level, we keep those powers separated at this level, and there's no ambiguity, there's no nepotism, that kind of stuff going on in county government. It's a check and balance for county government at this level. And that's what I'm trying to preserve for the people of this great county. So, I'll tell you a little bit about some of the accomplishments that I've made, even while under fire over the last 3.5 years. When I first came into office, there was over $30,000 in unaccounted for money just laying around the office in baggies, drawers, envelopes, under the desk, those types of things. I gathered them up, put them into evidence, and asked for an audit. The audit didn't come from the county. I had to go outside the county and get a private firm to come in and do the audit. After the audit was done, there was still $11,000 unaccounted for. That inadvertently, obviously, embarrassed some county officials. Didn't do it on purpose. I was just trying to take care of the office and take care of the people's money, to make it right. Once that audit was done and we still found money, there were still things to do. So what I did is I started working on fixing the computer and data collection system in the sheriff's office, which was non-existent. We took the data management program from a very non-user-friendly program to a very friendly program now called Zerker. And we joined all the other counties around us so that we're able to share that information with other counties. So for instance, we have someone that gets stopped in Belfield or in Dickinson. They have the Zerker system down there. We can see in their system that they just got stopped down there. So if they get stopped up in McKenzie County and we see that they were just stopped for speeding down there, they're probably not going to get a warning. They're probably going to get a citation, you know what I mean? And that way, we can also link together connections through the drug activities that are going on in the county, which has been a big issue here. I've taken that system and it's called a spider system. You can connect the dots in there and we can show who all the associations were and who's running with who. So that's a big thing for us for investigative purposes to try to combat the drugs here in McKenzie County.
Hey, Gary?
Yes, Chris.
From when you modified our task force participation and how many drug cases there were until now? Kind of
Yep,
that.
I'm going to cover that right now. So, when we, I don't have much leash here. It's kind of like being at home. Just kidding. Love you, honey. Where are you at, babe? So, when we started when I came on board, the Northwest Narcotics Task Force was our task force. It's a joint effort between like the different counties and PDs throughout this county, Williams County, Williston, Watford City, in this area. So what we tried to do what I tried to do with that was I analyzed the production that we were getting out of that. The county or the sheriff's office at the time was paying about a little over $80,000 to this task force. And most of the activity for those two task force agents was going on up in Williston and Williams County. And I thought, well, that's not a good way to spend our tax dollars to spend up there. And I get it. The drugs are going to run up and down between counties. It's not just going to stay in one county. But I needed to positively affect and make an impact here in this county. So after I did an assessment of the stats, I found out that that $80,000 in the first 6 months of 2016 only gained us, I think it was 6 active drug cases, 8 if I'm not mistaken. 8 drug cases in 6 months with 2 task force agents. To me, that was unacceptable. So I made a change at that time, and I assigned 2 of my deputies to the task force and pulled that money. So I pulled that money from the task force, which I didn't like at first, and I knew it would, but I knew it was a change that had to be made, because in my seat, you got to make the tough decisions. And that was one of the tough decisions that I had to make to be able to make a positive change for this county. We went in July of 2016 to now, we have upwards of 500 drug cases that we've engaged in since 2016. So if that's not a positive change, taking that money away from the task force and assigning my own deputies, I don't know what is. So that's something that I'm very passionate about, is making sure that we have that control. Another issue that I did a good positive change for while I've been in office is we had been struggling with our budget and the money that was coming in, and I get it, we can only have a certain budget and we got to deal with it. So the budget that I got that year in 2016 was a little bit short in my book. I submitted a certain level and it got chipped away, which is what they're supposed to do, is chip away at it a little bit and try to reduce the budget. So they got it down to a certain number. I knew this was going to happen, so I went out there and I sent 2 of my staff members to grant writing school. Basically, it's just a class for a few days where a staff member can learn how to write federal and state grants that we can get money that doesn't come out of the taxpayer's pocket. So I got them trained up, and they went out there and they wrote these grants, and we got them back. And matter of fact, one of the employees' husbands is here tonight. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it. And so they did that for us, that wrote that grant, and we got, since I've been in office, we've received over $1.25 million in grant money that's not coming out of your pocket. That money bought 7 new squad cars for the deputies, bought all new gear for the deputies. We got some special response team gear, flak jackets and helmets for responses in certain situations. Knock on wood, we don't have to use it, but guess what? We had to use it one time. Down at the DAPL protest when we went down there. We mounted up with Deputy Watkins back there. He helped me out with this, and he helped organize and was phenomenal in getting the crew down there and helping out with DAPL. When we got there to DAPL, the bridge was still burning when we got there. It was kind of quelling and going down a little bit, but we got there a little bit late. They did an all-call for all the officers in the state, and we showed up just when it was, because we were quite a ways away from Mandan. And so we showed up, it was quelling down, and the rest of the deputies that were there were running out of munitions, which means bean bags and stuff like that, not bullets, just bean bags to keep them back. And they were just about out. Through that grant money, we were able to receive that equipment, take it down there for us, and we were like the cavalry to the rest of the deputies that were down there with all that gear and equipment, and we divvied out all that munitions to them, and they were just very appreciative for us doing that. So that's something that is not something that happens on a regular basis, but I truly believe that we need to prepare for those incidents that come. Because if we're not prepared, then we're not going to be able to protect the people of this county. So those are some of the things that I kind of look in the forefront to try to anticipate that they might happen. But I don't want to spend taxpayer dollars with it, so that's why I used that grant money to be able to get that to help protect you. So, thank you. And one last thing I'd like to address. I know there's been some negative press and some negative things said about me out there, but I hope that today, just getting to know me and talking to me, you guys really know who I am in here. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to move forward and make this agency an elite law enforcement agency in North Dakota. And I still think that we can get there through the programs and policies and procedures that I've implemented. One of the things that I've provided is structure in the sheriff's office. When we first started, there was a sheriff, a captain, and a sergeant. That was all the structure we had, so all the deputies kept coming to the sheriff about everything. So, in my eyes, why do we have a captain and a sergeant if those deputies aren't going to them to be supervised by? So I restructured the sheriff's office, and we now have a captain, 3 lieutenants, 6 sergeants, and 2 corporals. So now those individuals are being sent to supervisory and management training courses so that we have professional supervisors and managers running the sheriff's office, and I can go do the things that a sheriff should be doing, which is out there legislating for the laws here in this county to protect you guys. So to me, that's been very important to reestablish that structure in there. And through that structure, there's been some change. A lot of people, I don't want to say a lot, probably about a handful, maybe a dozen people didn't like that change. So some of them quit, and a few of them were terminated. The reason they were terminated is because I had implemented a counseling system in the sheriff's office that holds people accountable to a higher standard. If I want this agency to be an elite agency for you, the people, I can't just sit back and just let them do whatever they want, right? So that's why I put the counseling in place, where the sergeants counsel the corporals counsel the deputies, lieutenants counsel the sergeants, so on and so forth. Because that's the way a structured organization works in a law enforcement, military, wherever you want to go for this type of job. And it has really brought things around as far as having a merit-based system for promotions and also for counselings. Because I don't believe that you should be promoted just because you've been here a long time. I believe in promoting someone off their merits and what they have done for this organization and for you, the citizens of this county. So that has been a very big thing in the Sheriff's Office that has helped the morale and to boost everybody's attitude in the Sheriff's Office now that we have a lot of the naysayers that have moved on. And God bless them, and more power to them. I wish them all the best that have left the Sheriff's Office, but we have a vision, and you can see on some of these papers, my wife brought them here. I have my mission statement on there, and the visions and values for the Sheriff's Office. I want you to know that when I got elected in November of 14, I sat down to ask my wife, because she kept saying, can you sit with us for a while, but I felt this was very important to get done before I took office and to establish this. It took me 3 whole months to go over and critique and change my mission statement and those visions and values. Those things truly came from my experience in this world, traveling this world and dealing with different things in my life, to be able to be fair and true and honest for the citizens of this county and for the employees of the Sheriff's Office. So when I make those kind of decisions and changes in policies, it's just not shooting from the hip. I take the time to research it and to make sure it's done right and to see who it's all going to affect before I implement those changes. So to me, that's something that has really helped the employees understand that I'm consistent in the things that I do up there. So, and the one last thing that I'll talk about is what's going to happen in the future for the next 4 years. So we've established structure, we've established policies and procedures that have not been in existence prior to me coming on board. We've gotten all this new computer system and all these tracking systems so that the public can have access to those types of things. And I've also been under budget all 3 years since I've been in office. So that's pretty rare, and it's because of that $1.25 million. I anticipated the cuts in my budget, so that's why I went and got those grants, so that I could balance my budget out. So at the end of the day, you plug that grant money back into it, and I'm under budget every year. It is. It's about the taxpayer's dollar. I mean, I'm trying to give the best bang for the buck here for the citizens and the taxpayers of this county. So that's something that I am going to continue in the next 4 years. The programs that we've had in place, my next 4 years, I plan to refine those things out and get all of my command staff and all the leadership properly trained, so that they can learn and understand how to manage people. Because that's one of the hardest things in any organization, is learning how to manage people, right? So that's something that I'm going to do there. A little bit on the Second Amendment. I will continue to protect the Second Amendment. Always. Always. That is something that's near and dear to my heart. I protected that for 28 years in the military. I'm going to continue to protect that right for you to carry a gun in this state and in this county as long as I'm still alive. They're going to have to pry my gun from my cold, dead fingers. That's all I can say about that.
Booyah!
Thanks for coming. Hope you had fun.
Mrs. Spurgeon.
So, I don't know if you guys have any questions, or if you want to put some questions in a box over there, so it's anonymous, because I know it sometimes can get a little nerve-wracking if you're asking a question in front of a crowd and stuff. So, they're up here? Okay, this box up here on the stage, do we have any in there yet, Chris?
I'm looking.
If there's not, I'll take the mic again later on today, and I'll answer some of those questions. But if we have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I'm an open book. You got a question, I'm gonna tell you.
Got a bunch of questions.
Oh, great. Okay.
A bunch.